He won every race, every single one. The fastest runner in the village. Untouchable. Unbeatable. But one day, an old man stopped him and said, "If you are truly fast, race her." He turned and saw an elderly woman, struggling just to stand. Then the old man added, "And after her, race him." A blind man. For the first time in his life, Ryan didn't know if winning meant anything at all. Welcome to Wise Soul Tales, where ancient wisdom meets modern storytelling, guiding us through the profound journeys of the human spirit. In a vibrant European village nestled among rolling hills, lived a young man named Ryan, defined by his burning desire for victory. For Ryan, every single day was a battlefield, and life was nothing more than a fierce race to prove his dominance. He firmly believed that success meant standing alone at the top, leaving everyone else behind in the dust of his achievements. Crowds would gather to watch him display his athletic prowess, and he thrived on their applause, feeding his ever-growing ego. However, amidst the cheering crowd, there was one old man named Amos, who remained completely unimpressed by Ryan's constant victories. Ryan noticed the lack of reaction from the village sage, and it bothered him deeply, casting a shadow over his win. He approached the wise man, flaunting his trophy, desperate to extract even a single word of praise or validation from him. But Amos simply looked at him with eyes full of ancient wisdom and shook his head, offering no applause whatsoever. Fueled by frustration, Ryan decided to organize an even bigger race, determined to force the old man to respect his power. The day of the second race arrived, and Ryan ran faster than ever before, his movements precise and incredibly powerful. He crossed the finish line effortlessly, securing another victory that he was sure would finally earn him the sage's admiration. Yet when he looked toward the old oak tree, Amos sat there in silence, his expression as unreadable as stone. Ryan could not contain his anger anymore, and demanded to know why his triumphs were being met with such cold silence. The old man stood up slowly and told Ryan that to prove his worth, he must participate in one final race. Amos gestured toward the gathering crowd, signaling for two specific individuals to step forward and join Ryan at the starting line. The new challengers were a frail elderly woman, trembling with age, and a quiet man who could not see the path. Ryan looked at them and laughed in disbelief, thinking this was a mockery of his skills rather than a real challenge. But Amos remained serious, lined them up, and with a commanding voice, he signaled the start of this unusual race. Ryan dashed forward without hesitation, his eyes locked on the finish line, completely ignoring the struggles of his two slow companions. While Ryan sprinted ahead, the elderly woman struggled to move, and the blind man tapped his cane, unsure of the direction. Ryan reached the finish line in record time, raising his arms in victory, expecting the usual roar of admiration from the crowd. But this time, there was only a deafening silence that swept across the village square, leaving Ryan confused and alone. He looked around in bewilderment, unable to understand why no one was cheering for his easy and decisive win. He turned to the wise old man and asked with a trembling voice why the people refused to acknowledge his success. Amos walked over gently, placed a hand on the young man's shoulder, and pointed back to the two people left behind. He told Ryan to race again, but this time, his goal was not to finish first, but to finish together. Ryan stood there for a moment, absorbing the lesson, realizing that his previous victories were hollow without compassion for others. He walked back to the starting line, but this time he stood between his two competitors with a new sense of purpose. The wise man smiled, seeing the change in the young man's heart, and gave the signal for the race to begin again. Ryan did not sprint away this time. Instead, he gently took the frail hand of the elderly woman to support her. Then he reached out to the blind man, guiding his hand, ensuring that all three of them were connected as one. They began to move forward, not running, but walking slowly, matching their pace to the rhythm of the slowest among them. Ryan became their strength and their eyes, guiding them carefully over the cobblestones, ensuring no one was left behind or afraid. The crowd watched in awe as the arrogance of the young runner was replaced by a beautiful display of human kindness. For the first time, Ryan felt a warmth in his heart that was far greater than the thrill of any solo victory. Step by step, they journeyed together, sharing the struggle and the effort, turning a competition into a walk of solidarity. When the old woman stumbled, Ryan did not rush. He held her tighter, waiting patiently until she was ready to continue. The finish line drew closer, not as a symbol of conquest for one, but as a destination for 3 united souls. Finally, they crossed the line together, not as competitors, but as companions who had helped each other complete the journey. The village square exploded with applause, louder and more passionate than anything Ryan had ever heard in his entire life. Amos stood and clapped, his eyes shining with pride, for he knew that Ryan had finally learned the most important lesson. Ryan hugged his companions, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment that no trophy or gold medal could ever provide him. The wise man approached him and whispered that today, Ryan had achieved a victory that would be remembered forever. Ryan realized that winning is not about leaving others behind, but about lifting them up and crossing the line together. He understood that true strength is not physical speed, but the capacity to show love, patience, and compassion to others. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the village, reflecting the warmth that now filled Ryan's heart. From that day forward, Ryan stopped racing to defeat others and started living to help everyone around him succeed. He became a true champion in the eyes of the village, not for his speed, but for his generous spirit. His old trophies gathered dust on the shelf, forgotten, while his new acts of kindness created memories that would last forever. The 3 of them remained close friends, a constant reminder to everyone that we are stronger when we stand together. The village thrived, not because of competition, but because its people learned to support one another through every challenge. Amos watched over them, satisfied that his lesson had taken root, transforming a selfish boy into a noble man. Ryan's story teaches us that the fastest runner is not always the winner, and the greatest prize is a kind heart. In the race of life, let us not rush to the end alone, but extend our hands to those who struggle. For when we lift others up, we lift ourselves, and we find a purpose that is higher than any podium. Let your life be a light that guides others, rather than a shadow that leaves them behind in the dark. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and redemption. May you carry this wisdom in your heart. Remember to slow down, look around, and help those in need, for that is the true meaning of winning. This has been a story from Wise Soul Tales. Subscribe now to nurture your soul with more inspiring stories. Goodbye.